All I know is that Christian Roldan is bigger than this Dembele guy. One guy showed up for the. No, I'm kidding. Oh my God. Yes, welcome back. After the club, it feels weird. I totally forgot that they had this match on a Monday. Throws off the whole equilibrium. Welcome back to Soundwaves from the Sea. Uh, Good friends Michael Martinez, Owen Murray, and some bald guy here to talk to you about the past two matches for the Sounders in the Club World Cup. When it feels like the stars of the show for the Club World Cup here in Seattle were the Urawa Red Diamonds supporters group. Uh, they showed up really fucking good. Wow, I used it really early. Yeah, man. Um, we're gonna look at the two matches. Atletico beating Sounders 3-1, and then Paris Saint-Germain 2-0. So, not that bad. And then just kind of takeaways. I was gonna start talking and being like, you know what? This is not like the worst this could have gone, but I realized I should probably save that for takeaways. Um, yeah, the Atletico Madrid one was interesting because you go into the half, you know, tied, well, scoreless. I'm like, okay, this isn't bad. Um, and Owen was bringing up possession numbers before we started, and I didn't realize how bad it was. Just even watching the first half of that Paris PSG match, it's like, oh wow, like this isn't going too bad, except for the 35th minute, of course. Everything before then stopped the count. Um, but yeah, I think I didn't expect to go into the half scoreless against Atletico. Like, not, I didn't, at least. I don't know about you guys, but
I don't think anybody did,
um,
to be honest.
n- you know, uh, so excuse me as I prepare the brand new banners I've got for our thumbnails of these shows. Yeah, tough to what? How do you Witzel? Yes,
Witzel.
Yeah,
Witzel. Okay,
Witzel.
it looks like a Witzel, but I didn't want to let's assume that. Um, Nets won in the 47th minute, but then Sounders answer right back 3 minutes later with Albert Rusnak, which I was texting, I think, Owen and Michael during this. That goal was pretty much set up by Obed Vargas, um, which was cool to see. Albert didn't to do a lot. Um, but then, oh, wait, no, I'm totally wrong. I'm totally wrong. Seattle was down in the 11th minute. I'm reading this improperly because they've got it set up where Barrios had the 55th minute goal. It
Mm.
probably should have though been like 4-0 within the first 20 minutes.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Oh, they
Yeah.
took the cues from the Sounders on how not to finish, right?
Oh my. Hey, they were doing
Uh,
him a favor. You're the host club. We're gonna just pay this homage to you about how you play. No,
I just don't
oh
know
God.
how Sorloth didn't score like any of those chances. Like he decimated Reed,
Yep.
sent him to the ground, and then skies it. Like, come on, you're like 6 yards away from the goal. What are you doing, brother?
There were the Sorloth chances. There was the
With the Alvarez chance, yeah.
Oh my
yep.
god.
There was the almost penalty. Like the penalty,
Mm.
you know, it easily, sorry, yeah, sorry, not scoreless. 1-0 though, you know, but yeah, just total kick in the balls to score in the 50th, bring it within a goal, and then 5 minutes later, just have it kind of put to bed. So I don't know. I think, and I'll save it again for takeaways, but I mean, it's nice to not go like into uh to not finish this tournament scoreless, right? I think did LAFC not score a goal at all? I'll double check that, but
Let's see.
Yeah,
I
uh
I
want to. I
mean,
want to say they didn't.
but we said that we wanted them to be competitive, right? And
I'd say
and
they were
I
competitive.
think
Oh,
you absolutely
they
got
play
that.
Flamengo today. Yeah. I don't want to get to takeaways, but
Yeah,
Atletico, this one,
yeah.
they pretty solid. I mean, you at least had a goal and a half of XG, which I know XG is subjective and all that, right? I always have to preface that because there's someone's going to be like, XG doesn't matter.
Me,
Um,
I'm that person. I hate XG.
all right, XG
Stupid
nerd.
stat.
You're first then. Your thoughts in this match against Atletico Madrid, and then we'll go to Owen.
I thought the Sounders did really well. Honestly, they proved that they can hang in these type of games. I thought the midfield and the defense did a really good job. Obviously, we have saw the problem in all three games. The attack just wasn't really there. But I mean, at least like Christian Obed were balling out. Obed looked like a star on that pitch. Yeah, the stats aren't very flattering, but like the kid was good. I'm happy with the performance. Yeah, it was 3-1, but like I had no complaints with this athletic match.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't lose respect, right? I think, yeah, we'll get more into this, but I think this was one of like kind of we saw them play kind of three different ways, or like very very adjust to the teams they were playing. We were talking about possession. This one they had 43%, and I felt like the possession they had was meaningful. I felt like some of the PSG possessions were really wasted because of how stacked, like how many players they had dropped back. But this one there was a serious build up through the midfield. The chances felt earned, um, and not just like a hey, let's kick it down the field and search for Danny Wasowski. And we've talked a lot about the midfield progression. And I think that that's something that really showed up in this game specifically.
I agree with that, and especially the second half. Like I feel like the first half, I felt like the Sounders were kind of getting a feel for how that he was going to be playing, kind of get a feel for the game. And then second half literally kicks off. Liddy scores that goal, and then from then on, the Sounders had most of the momentum. Honestly, I feel like we're getting really good wing play. Like I said, that midfield progression continued from the first game. Like I think the Sounders played their game and it worked.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I kind of wanted to talk about this one was we saw through these three games three different pairs of wing combinations. This was the what Rothrock De La Vega game, correct?
Yes,
Rothrock De La Vega to start. They both come off after 60 and 66 minutes, but I'm curious what we thought about that pairing versus some of the other guys we saw. For reference, the other two pairings were Ryan Kent
And yeah,
and Jesus Ferreira against Botafogo, and then what Rothrock and Kent against
PSG.
PSG.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
Honestly, I feel like this in the first half, this pairing didn't work very well. I
mm,
thought Rothrock struggled in this game, which we'll get to him in the PSG game because completely different games. I feel like both him and Pedro weren't really. I didn't really see much. I feel like I didn't see much of them getting involved too much,
Yeah,
especially in the attack. In the build up, maybe we saw Paul Rothrock dropping back quite a bit and helping Reed because we obviously know Reed's not a defender, or at least I don't think he's a defender. But I feel like as soon as we made those second half subs, the Sounders' wing play was a lot more dangerous. I mean, yeah, going against tired legs, but
yeah. I mean, what the Sounders really do have, right, is impactful guys off the bench. I think the perfect thing is that the Sounders have like four or five wingers who are great 60-minute subs against tired
mm.
wingbacks. Like I'd love to see Paul Rothrock or Georgie Manungu or Ryan Kent against a guy who's been dealing with Pedro de la Vega all game. But it's a little bit interesting when they have to go against a guy from the start, and I think maybe that's why it didn't work as much. But we can also, I mean, maybe it's also just because they're so much of their progression. I'd love to see kind of a breakdown of like the attacking thirds, left to right, because so much of the play went through the middle. And those, that Rusnak Vargas rolled on trio
peak.
was peak. But yeah, it was a good game. Honestly, I was not disappointed. Um, they score, some legit goals. And you may let you try, right?
Yeah, and that's all we asked for. We didn't expect
Yep.
results. We just want them to try.
There you go.
Is that gonna be our new thing this episode? Is we didn't expect results. Why don't we try? Just throw that on the. I should have a list of the like words or sayings that we've had through the course of the show. Yeah, no, I mean it's a good question, Owen. I mean, I feel like this is something we're gonna talk about throughout the course of the season, right? Is what pairing on the outside
Yeah.
is the one you go with. And I think is it a good because I wish I could pull it. There's so many availabilities to go through for that. But I feel like Sir Weibel of Craig said in the preseason that they want to be unpredictable in their attack. I don't know if either of you guys remember that. But I feel like having the options that you do out in the wing lends a little bit to that, right? I mean, I know these guys haven't produced the numbers you would have liked right now. We still got a good chunk of regular season to go. But to bring on Jesus Ferreira and Ryan Kent off the bench, and of course you've got Georgie there, those are not bad things to have to do. Like you talk about again, bring them in like what, 60th minute? Yeah, both Jesus and Kent came in the 60th minute of this Atletico match. Like if you're a tired defender dealing with if I had to play defense as a professional, which I never got that level, of course, and I have to deal with Georgie Manungo on the wing after I've already dealt with a Kent or a Pedro, I'm pissed. Like stop this dribbling shit in front of me. Like, ah, it would piss me off. I mean, so
Like
yeah,
Georgie is the best super sub in the entire league.
it's a great option to have. Of course, as we've talked about, we'd like for you to have a final ball, but you could say that about a lot of Sounders, I feel like. Uh
I feel like the main thing that was missing in especially this game was just no one there to finish. Yes,
yeah.
Danny Musovski was there, but like he's not going to score against a Larnemont or a Jimenez. Like he's not going to get past that.
You're telling me Oblak
We
wasn't trembling looking at Danny Wasowski coming down the pitch?
Danny Musovski did have a chance in the first half where Oblak had to make a really
Yeah,
good save, but
yeah, he did. Jesus, I forgot about that. It's a great point. Hey,
other
wait,
than that,
there's
yeah.
there's this coming out right now, Husky Soccer Stadium 2026 World Cup. You guys, I think you guys would enjoy that.
There you
I
go.
forgot they were going to use that. Oh yeah, they'll use it as a practice site. That's cool. Um, I gotta look at Michael's patented full-time and halftime thoughts for these as well to see remember what he was thinking. Um, oh yeah, we'll talk about Obed. Yeah, we will talk about
Yeah.
Obed in the oh, I don't want to see this in the takeaways, but yeah, you talking about how Albert, besides the goal, and again, he didn't really do too much on the goal, right? I mean, he good shot, good finish, that's fine. But
He was quiet.
um, yeah, yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with that. All right, yeah, this other club, PSG, don't know if they've won anything. Um, what? And were they full UCL final squad except for like a change?
Except for Dembele. Except for Dembele.
Who
Yeah, see
was
again, Christian
hurt.
Roldan shows up can
There was, I don't
Champions
know if
League
you saw,
quality.
there was a great clip of Dembele and Georgie meeting up, and it looked like
yes,
they had a
yeah,
good time. Which
that was
that
really
was the other
cool.
thing I want to talk about just from this too is how much kind of connection there was. We just saw
Oh yeah,
Obed with Griezmann, we saw Georgie and Dembele, we saw a little bit of Paul Rothrock respect with who was it, Nuno Mensch? No, Hakimi.
No, Hakimi.
Um, I love how much these players are really interacting and how much of that we saw. I thought it was really cool to see.
yeah.
We'll
Well,
never get another chance like this, and it was nice to see.
with
Yeah.
uh with Atletico coming in, I thought it was funny. So the Mariners the had a day off before they had Friday when they played in Chicago. Everyone else I think had flown, but Julio I think stayed to see
Oh,
Griezmann
yeah.
because they are a great friend. Like I'm sure you guys have seen it with Griezmann's like posting his Julio jersey wherever he is. Like it's funny seeing the Griezmann to see as much as I would have loved that. But yeah, I'll have to double check the dates on that, but I'm pretty sure Julio like stayed back to see which hey, I mean it's fine. Like you can do that, but I did find that amusing. Yeah,
That
no,
is
it's
hilarious.
it's really cool for some of the best in the world to like give these players their props. Like who was it? I think Owen already alluded to it, but was it Hakimi had great things to say about
Yeah,
Paul
yeah.
Rothrock. So yeah, this match, I mean, again, first first 30 minutes I was watching, I was like, hey, you're having to defend a bit, but
Looked good.
they
I
they
was excited.
oh what was there was one opportunity where they were I don't remember who it
It
was,
was, it
but
was a Paul Rothrock press, and Jesus
yes.
Ferreira fell to him.
Could
Just
have
botches
been
it.
1-0. 90 minutes for PSG could be a long time at Lumen Field. No, but I mean, yeah, isn't just to think about only losing, seeing the other results of this tournament, right? I saw some prediction from this guy I follow on TikTok that does like transfer rumors. I need him to mention Arsenal more, please. I need something. Rodrigo come to Seattle. No. Can you imagine? But it was like 8-0 prediction for this match, and I was like, please God, please don't. 2-0
Especially
against
especially because it was a game they needed to win, right? Like
yes,
you
it
have
was a
to.
Yeah,
match they needed a result from. And for one of the goals to come off a deflection, that you know, that I again, we'll talk about it in takeaways. We'll get to that here shortly, but very happy with them looking competitive in this regard. Um, and yeah, being able to hold your head high and not feeling like, you look like crap. You had several like I love Christian Roldan, right? I mean, Husky, of course. Um, but like for him to show up and to see a lot of people who were there say, yeah, this guy was their best player, or look like was very noticeable is great. And I didn't mention it with the Atletico thing because I wanted to kind of take it into takeaways, but to have what 50K plus show up on a Monday at
Yeah.
noon,
insane.
pretty good. It's pretty good. We had XG hater go first, so Owen, I'll let you go first this time. Then we'll go to Michael. But yeah, this one, uh, your thoughts on Sounders 2-0 loss to PSG.
Yeah, I thought we'd just talk a little bit about what worked tactically here. I don't know if you guys caught it because it was on the DAZN broadcast, or the DAZN broadcast.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah,
DAZN.
Mhm.
But Brian was saying that he had looked a lot at what Botafogo did that worked against PSG, and a lot of it was kind of forcing them to go wide because we know that they have a great midfield and players who can really progress dribbles. And so they made him not able to do that. And PSG looked really frustrated. You had to get the ball to Due, and then you'd have him doubled up with Nuhu and Rothrock. So that was really. I remember there was one combination play where Due does come inside and just skates past some guys and gets a shot on goal. But really, we're forcing them into those chances. And while that's not the strategy that the Sound we're going to expect, like we don't expect that against Austin. We don't expect, what did we say, 28% possession. Let's sit back and force them wide. I think it's interesting because like I said, we saw a lot more tactical diversity in this tournament, and it works. Which, applying a diverse tactical style has not been a hallmark of what the Sounders do under Brian Schmetzer. So I was curious to see how well it really did work.
I was just surprised that Schmetz brought that out. Because I mean, like you said, Schmetz plays a single system and it works, and he sticks with it. We've seen that year in year out, but like we saw a different side of the Sounders that I genuinely enjoyed. Like I love seeing that low block. Like I know it's a frustrating like game to watch, especially as a fan, but like I loved watching them forcing PSG to have to adapt their game midway through, and you wouldn't expect the Sounders to make PSG adapt like that. I think that was
Yeah,
probably the most standout thing about this game.
it gives me a little more hope going forward because you look at, like, hey, let's when this squad does kind of shift forms either because of injury, because of an international break, because of who you're playing, like there's some adaptability there that we haven't really seen in the past. Like, hey, if you need to play a team that's gonna like sit low or really try to progress it through the middle, like you know what they're gonna do, there's an ability to have an idea and then execute it. I will say though, what I was worried about in this was how quickly the Sounders got countered.
Mm.
Um, I mean, it's PSG, so it's tough, but there was some really poor transition defending, especially for the second goal. Just five guys on the front post, nobody on the back post. Worries me a little bit because that's a strategy that not only do the Sounders really employ, so they're seeing that in practice a lot, but that a lot of MLS teams will do is sit deep and break.
I actually wanted to bring that goal up specifically. I saw on Reddit, Twitter, Blue Sky, wherever you're seeing, every single fan is blaming Nuhu
Mm.
single-handedly for this goal. And at first, I was frustrated too. But when I looked back and watched this goal multiple times, Nuhu is tracking his runner that was coming from the middle as they shift into a back three as Alex Roldan was higher up the pitch. Nuhu is tracking his runner. There was not a single player on the left-hand side supporting him, where and Paul Rothrock was also seen in the top right, out of position. And while John Bell also moved in closer to Reagan, I don't. I know everyone expected Nuhu to step to the left and step to Hakimi before he took a shot. But as I'm watching this game, John Bell had no awareness of where the player was or where Nuhu was. So if I guarantee if Nuhu would have stepped forward to Hakimi to try and block that shot, that ball would have been passed in right into Malulu and it would have gone right into the back of the net either way. I want to get your guys' thoughts on Nuhu's performance and on that goal.
I'm watching it now. I mean, if at least you're talking about Nuhu's performance, he rated decently well on FootMob, if that means anything. Um, yeah, this is like Nuhu tracker right now. I don't see him doing anything wrong.
I think it's just a communication issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because I like, while I understand that, like, yeah, yes, he is out of position. That back post is his responsibility. When you have the players available there, you'd like him to shift over and John Bell to shift over. And part of that
Mm,
is his responsibility to communicate. I think also part of it is because how much rotation there is in that center back pair, because that's where
I
a lot of that
see.
communication comes from. And you've had a lot of different pairings there, and I think it's obvious that that relationship isn't as strong as the starting pair, which is what you'd expect. And I think it
Okay,
really
I see
showed.
what you're saying, Mike. Yeah,
It's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation on that goal.
yeah, yes. And I think what Owen's saying is supremely undervalued, not necessarily by people who maybe I hate to say this, who hate to like who actually know ball, because this happens with the rain a lot, and I admittedly watch them more. Like anytime you take Lou Barnes off, like the communication is just fucked. Like you have players who will consistently start like communicate. They've got some of the younger center backs now, so it's like as soon as she comes off, communication gets thrown out. Like what was the starting center back pair again? This one we got John Bell. Yeah. Oh, okay. You had Jackson back, sure. But does this tournament maybe just showcase a little bit more about the importance of Yamar? I mean, like,
Oh, 1000%.
you know what I mean? Like
I just think
John
without
Bell.
Yamar or without a healthy Kim, there's no actual leader or vocal leader in that back
Mm,
line.
yeah.
Reagan isn't it. Reagan has proved that he is a quality enough defender, but he is not a leader in that back line. And I think having someone with experience like a Yamar or a Kim Kihi,
Yeah,
we were severely lacking in these last two games.
Yeah.
I do think Jackson Reagan played well. I did like
Oh yeah,
how often he stepped into the midfield. And his progressive passing was really strong in this game. Yeah, but I think that area is maybe where he's lacking. You see a lot of Chad Marshall in his game, but that's not
Mm,
part of it.
yeah.
it's a good point. It's a very good point. Um, yeah, unless you've got something else to say about this match, we can go into the sort of takeaways from your Sounders in the first edition of this Club World Cup. Anything.
Yeah, let's
Anything.
roll.
All right. I guess we'll start with this because the AMR in the brain, it makes me think about it kind of and just kind of looking at that. But who would you guys have as winners and losers from this one? I feel like two clear winners, even if maybe Obed didn't have the like best statistical numbers, or two of your guys in the midfield here, and Christian Roldan and Obed Vargas. Like seeing, I know it's a hellscape talking about the U.S. men's national team Twitter. That is a hellscape. I don't like looking at it. It's like half the time I don't pay attention to what's going. I couldn't tell you who's on that roster right now. I couldn't. I don't care, just because of how weird they are about players. Maybe Danny Musaf. No, I'm kidding. But seeing them actually be like have some semblance of respect and like intrigue about seeing what Christian Roldan could bring for them at what should remember is yeah 30, he is 30. Okay, 30 is kind of fun. So that's an easy winner for me. I feel like it's harsh to say this because he's very much like a depth defender, but like John Bell kind of got toasted I feel like he's been getting toasted since you've been dealing with the center back issues, and then playing the best clubs in the world hasn't helped that. So those are two for me, and I mean another loser is your attack, just because you could have beaten Botafogo, probably made this PSG match closer, and maybe I don't know. You could have been in a lot more dangerous positions if you had better attacking players. So your loser
Yeah.
is an attack, but we've known that for weeks and months of the season,
and
right?
years. Like
Yes, yeah, it is a deeper issue. Um, yeah, Owen, I know you wanted to do this, so I'm gonna make you go first again. Sorry, Mike, we're putting you in the corner
it's
for
okay.
a moment. But yeah, winners and losers from this one, however that be, if it's individual player or segments of the club.
Yeah, I mean, I have Paul Rothrock as a big winner out of this. I think he endured a difficult performance and then came out and really what was aggressive against PSG. I really liked what we saw from him. I think he was one of the most used. I think he was the only guy to start two games. No, Kent started two games. But he was one of two guys in that wing rotation to get consistent minutes, which I think shows a lot. He's been doubted a lot, but I think he also might be one of the most well-rounded players. We talk a lot about these guys' strengths and how great Georgie and Kent are at taking guys on one-on-one on why Pedro is a good creative asset. But I think that Paul Rothrock's a winner because when Hakimi respects you, that's a big thing. And having a guy who I think that's the guy you want starting your games. We talk about how a lot of these guys are super subs, but Paul Rothrock is the guy who can help you figure out a fullback. So
Mm,
I have him as a winner. And then just kind of in terms of losers, I would say defensive depth across the board. We talked a little bit about the center backs, but I really did expect to see Kalani Kosaranzi start more games, and he didn't. I expected to see more minutes, and I think he probably
mm.
got about an hour total across this tournament.
Jesus.
Um, and he's not a loser because he played poorly in that time. I thought he looked really good, but he's a loser because this was an opportunity and it wasn't taken.
I like that.
Also,
All
we
right.
talked a little bit about Reed and I think it went okay, but I think that it showed he maybe isn't a long term answer at left back.
All right. For me, winner is for sure Obed Vargas. That's a given.
Yeah,
Kid balled out on all three games. He showed his worth. Yeah, in the middle of the tournament, I actually talked to another reporter who's closer to the situation. There was no actual bid from Club America for
Hmm.
$10 million. There was talks. There's an agreement that they want to bid, but there's no official bid for him. I'm pretty sure we're not going to have Obed by the end of the summer. He's probably going to go for at least 15, I'd say 12 to 15 million minimum. Other clubs have been watching, and I've listened to other podcasts and other reporters that don't cover MLS have said that both Christian Roldan and especially Obed Vargas have been standouts in this tournament, have been the best MLS performers in this tournament,
yeah.
which is actually really fun. And then for me, honestly, a loser, I have two.
Mm,
Jesus Ferreira
okay.
and Pedro de la Vega.
Mm. Yeah, I want to hear more about Petra de la Vega.
So Ferreira's a given. It's he did not do himself any favors in this tournament. He's losing patience with a lot of fans and everyone else around him. Pedro de la Vega, though, in a game against PSG, you want your DPs and your highest paid players and your quote unquote superstars to play or to start. Pedro de la Vega didn't play at all against PSG. Instead, Schmetz opted to bring on Ryan Kent, which is fine. He's still great. And brought on Georgie Manungu, which also he made an instant impact, but you think, and also Danny Leva got minutes ahead of him in this game, and there's no word of Pedro de Vega having an injury.
Mm.
And you bring on Jordan Morris for the last 10 minutes just for the vibes. Why would you not bring on your other DP for the vibes against PSG? I feel like I know I'm probably like I'm reaching, I'm looking too much into it, but I feel like it is kind of telling that you're not going to bring on your $6 million player against the best team in the world.
No, I don't think you're reaching. I mean, I feel bad because I didn't mention that, but that is a great. That was also in Michael's full-time thoughts. Follow Michael on Twitter at Michael underscore James 32. I believe you're also on Blue Sky. So if it's different for the username on that, please correct me. But yeah, that was shocking when I looked back at this and I'm like, okay, bench and Pedro's at the bottom with no minutes. I'm like, hmm, because it's just unfortunately everything that I've personally seen with my two own eyes, which I remember I do have two, which is nice. This year has been, hey, there have been great spurts. Great spurts does not equal what, $6 million? Yeah, that's right. I mean, you expect results. I get it. We can play the young card all you'd like, but yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with putting him in the loser column because as you guys talk about, I mean, this is an opportunity to showcase yourself. You are, hey, we're the same age. Look at that. Uh, do you think they want to pay me $6 million? Um, Maybe the Chris Bucks coffee will just have to do. We'll settle with that. But yeah, man. I mean, two of your big acquisitions over the past 2 years have been what? Jesus Ferreira and Pedro de la Vega. Did either of them do anything legitimate in this tournament?
No.
If you okay, right? So, but yeah, I guess to make it sappy or something like that, the big winner is Seattle. I mean,
No. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
generally, I'm not talking about the club itself, but like again,
The
obviously
host
that
city.
yes. Yeah, because I'm still worried about what like the men's World Cup will look like next year. I've talked to a few people, like Tim Booth with the Seattle Times about how it'll be set up next year. Like the buffer zone, how about the buffer zone will like be several blocks away so folks can't get in. Like it's gonna be a mess, especially with how congested it can get. You guys know, right? Um, no, I mean it looked good. If for a very poorly promoted tournament, they could have done such a. They should have been like doing events or anything to so that like your casual fan knows about this for a long. Because again, you've got the PSG supporter group that exists out here and stuff like that. Like to turn out, like that's all great, but like they should have been selling these out. They really should have. Um, for who was here, you know for them to promote it as poorly as it was, because they really could have done a lot better of a job. The to see the turnout for the Atletico match and the PSG match was great, and I was like reading a bunch of things where people were saying that it looked like a lot more than 50,000. So that is great. That is awesome to see, and just like in general, I won't take it too much further than this, but like how much soccer is growing in this area. Like, I mean, we've known it. You can stretch it down Pacific Northwest. We can include Oregon, of course, which I don't feel great about, but I'll do it. You've got obviously the Sounders and the club that they've been, the Rain, the success that they've had while being smaller, and then of course, the partnership now that exists that is legitimate, getting into the Club World Cup, being a host city for the Men's World Cup next year. You could go down to the lower level with USL League Two and the growth of that. Oh, it's in a different room. But the new like with USLW League, I was out at the Ballard West Seattle match, which was a very shocking draw. Um, I think it's great. I love it. I mean, again, as a kid who grew up, I wasn't very good, but as a kid who grew up playing soccer around here, it's pretty awesome to see that, So, um,
I just hope
any
more
any
fans start coming out to league games.
yeah. Well, that's what. That's thank you. Mike reminded me of something. Like this could be great momentum, whether it be for the club or for fans to show up going forward. Because I mean, with how competitive, I know it doesn't translate. I know they'll play different styles of football against these different teams, right? But like to see that you fucking belonged against these clubs and then go on to say, okay, we have to deal with Austin FC, who you are, as Michael brought up, I think in the beginning, or before we started recording, you're tied with in points in the Western Conference right now, which I did not realize. I don't know. I think this is a confidence boost, not necessarily like have a big head, but hey, this is what we can be. This is who we showed up against. And to take that sort of thing into the rest of the season. And then for the fans, I mean, to see your club do that and to realize, hey, maybe they like. I think you said, are we going into the final thought? No, I think this was a tweet you had on your own. Yes, if the Sounders can bring even half of the intensity they brought in the Club World Cup back to MLS, they would be an instant MLS Cup contender. I don't disagree. Like that is my
Yeah,
thought
I agree.
here, right? So that was something that I literally took away from from these matches. So
Yeah.
any general takeaways that I might have missed?
All
Um,
right, the last one I kind of want to talk about because I'm curious that none of us brought it up. Where does New Who fall in terms of winners and losers?
ooh, that's a great
That's
See,
question.
so hard.
because I think it's tough to call him a winner.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah,
but he's definitely not a loser. He's on thin
I
ice.
yeah, I think there was some tough moments in here, but I think he's still your starting left back.
oh
I think that's
yeah,
what we learned here.
yeah, no, for sure.
I
Um,
mean, yeah, he fumbled like the Botafogo game. That was rough, but like I feel like he did redeem himself in this PSG game. Yeah, he had a couple of moments that were like what the fuck are you doing? But like that's just Nuhu. There's two goal line clearances himself that he had in this game, and I feel like
He was
I don't,
on Sports Center top 10, number 4 last night.
wait, really? Sick.
Yeah, that goal line clearance. Um, yeah,
I still say he's on thin ice, but like you said, he's still our starting left back. No one's contending with him right now.
yeah, yeah. I don't think you can call him a loser, but I was just curious that none of us brought it up because there was some valid criticism. You
yeah.
know, midway through this
I
tournament.
thought about it, but I was scared.
Not a winner, not a loser, but a secret third thing. Um, I mean, so yeah, that is a great question, especially with like how his tournament started. Um, yeah, all right.
Yeah, you want to
Mike,
talk
do you have
Boston?
any extra takeaways before? Because you were, I think, of the three of us, you were the one who was there, right?
I actually was not there. I was telling Owen this morning. Was not able to get there.
Poop fart. Wow. Didn't have anyone. No, I'm kidding. Um, yeah, Mike. No, not Mike. Owen, you were saying something before I cut you off and went to Mike.
Oh, I was just saying we were ready to talk about Austin,
Oh
the
boy.
Colorado Rapids of the Western Conference.
Wow. Yeah, God, isn't it crazy that you play Paris Saint-Germain on a Monday and then on Saturday you have to deal with big bad Austin FC. Like,
Goodness gracious.
isn't that crazy? God, what and then what? Next month you've got Leagues Cup. No, August. Wow, I'm no, yeah. Technically end of
Yeah,
next month.
and next month, yeah.
Cruz Azul, please leave me alone. No. Yeah. I don't know. Unfortunately, I'm not too much of it. There, I have so many things I have to watch, and that's not an excuse. It's just legitimate fact. What the hell is going on with Austin FC this year? I mean, what are we
They're
looking at?
very
Because
interesting team,
this is an
to say the
I'm
interesting
not
least.
plugged
match.
in. Take it away, Mike.
They so this summer they were busy in the transfer market. Like they spent $10 million on Brandon Vasquez. They spent 12 million on Murtu Uzuni, came from Granada in the second division of La Liga,
Granada.
and also they got Robert Taylor from Miami. Like the on paper, this team should be one of the best in the league, if not at least the best in the West. But they just don't play very well. They're kind of on a decent like run of form right now. They've only lost once in their last like 10 games altogether, and that was against
Huh.
San Diego. But everyone's losing to San Diego. Um, but the Sounders should win this. They've only lost once since Austin came into the league in 2022. Um, I, I've watched a couple Austin games just because I'm a sicko and I can't help but watch this this fun league that we all cover. Austin, they have moments where they shine really well with Bakari, Vasquez, and Uzuni, all when they're all connecting, playing together really well. But then also there's moments where you're like, what? They don't look like they know what they're doing. And I'm hoping the Sounders catch them on an off day where they don't look like they know what they're doing, especially in the final third. Which, if we have Yamar back this weekend, who knows? Then this game should be an easy win for the Sounders.
Yeah, I just want to see the intensity. I know we talked about it, but I want to see a real push. I want to see the Sounders not blow Austin away necessarily, but outwork them. That's what I want to see. We saw them make some of the best teams in the world work, and I think that sometimes we don't see that in these games. I think we see a lot of hey, let's hold each other at arm's length and then hope we score a goal on the break. And I don't want to see that in this game. I want to see a push and a drive to score early goals and and really really not take the game. I want them to take this game.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Just because, like, on one half, I talk about how right, like this should be a confidence booster per se, but on the other half, you don't want it to be like a lull yourself into. Okay, we just pushed, some of the best clubs in the world. Now we're back in MLS play, and just have it either be a letdown or forget that you have like this is again. You've got three clubs in the Western Conference right now that are at 26 points. As Michael mentioned, you can be passed up if you lose this match. Like, you know, totally forgot that LAFC is technically above you right now. That is disgusting. And they've got two matches in hand, son of a bitch. Oh my god.
I just want to bring this back to both the guys that Owen brought up. Which winger pairing do you want to see start in this Austin game?
I think I want Rothrock and Kent. I was curious about how he looked on the right side, but I think it was okay, and then I think there's room for rotation. That I would go with Rothrock and Kent, especially if you're really trying to take this game. I don't think that Georgie's particularly ready to start games, and so I think that gives you both the most diversity and the most kind of the most like pressing and put these players on the back foot.
I would agree with that. I would go with that. I did like not to necessarily go back to Club World Cup discourse, but like with PSG and like looking at the starters, I saw a guy like Ryan Kent. I know he spent what a year off from playing before he signed here, right? Like going up against the PSG, I'm like, you don't really have them on the Sounders roster, but you need your horses, your like big guys, your top talent per se. Um, I was thinking of the angle of like a Pedro starting on the right, just because maybe since he didn't play against PSG, he'd be pissed or something. But I don't know, man. Like I'm unfortunately on the downswing with Pedro. Like you need to show me something because we're losing ground here. It feels like it is going to quickly become the Toy Story. I don't want to play with you anymore and drop you for Ryan Kent. I feel like it's been that way for a while. But yeah, do you have any extra thoughts on that, Mike? Who you would you disagree with us?
No, I think based on what I saw, especially against the PSG game, I want to see Rothrock and Kent. I think you want those two players; they're workhorses. Like, but I want to see Kent back on the left. I think him and Nuhu have a really good relationship already, seemingly, like right from the get go, and I want to see that continue to build. And I feel like, well, with the way that Alex Roldan moves up and down that line, and Paul Rothrock's more than willing to go up, drop back if he needs to, I'd rather see Paul on the right, Ryan
I
on the
feel
left.
that. I feel that.
All right. Well, goodness. You got something else you want to talk about. That's this week's episode.
Yeah, that was a lot of coverage, man.
It
A
was fun.
successful tournament. A
It
successful
was
tournament. A
yes.
win overall.
Yes.
Yes, I will take again looking at your results here, what? Sorry, I gotta go back. 2-1 to Botafogo, which again, like if you look at the deeper numbers, feel good about that. Atletico Madrid 3-1. Sure. Uh and then PSG 2-0. Like to not get slapped around and so, like they unless they've changed it since this recording has been happening. Yeah, Auckland City. Oh, okay, no, now it's resumed and they're playing 1-1 1-1 against Boca Juniors. Oh my God, Auckland City has 26% possession. Jesus. Yeah, like again, to have the tournament start and you see a club lose 10-0 and for you to not be even close to that against the team that just like slapped Inter Milan around to win Champions League. Like
This just
I,
confirms the
I
Sounders are better than Inter Milan.
I feel better about the Sounders now than I did before the Club World Cup.
that is, there you go. I would
Agreed.
agree with that.
That's your takeaway.
That's there we go. There we go. Owen Murray, vote machine. All right. All right, guys. Yeah, no, I feel great. All right. So yes, now we get to go back to normal, like what, match a week, not have to worry about like two and a
Rattle our brains behind these intense
Monday,
matches.
Monday at noon. Terrible. Never do that again, please. Um, Jesus. All right. Yeah. Saturday, right? Yeah. Saturday, June 28th, 7:30. Ah, yes. Normal West Coast MLS time, 7:30. Let's fucking go. Austin FC, normal Apple TV MLS season. Actually, having the zone free was pretty nice. Not having to hear anyone bitch to me. It's on Apple TV. Apple TV. I don't care. I can't fix that. I am not Don Garber. Leave me alone. Um, yeah, no, this will be great. Michael, I'm gonna see you there.
Yes, you will.
If I have to come down to Oregon and wheel you up, we'll do it. I can't drive, so we're gonna be walking, buddy. I better start now if that's the case. So
Yeah.
one day we'll see Owen again. One day. Maybe
day.
he'll be in the Puddles costume. That's how I'll have to see him.
Maybe at the media game, if it ever happens.
Sad. One of these recordings, I'm gonna have my actual tiempos in here and put them on. So, till we see you next time. Probably normal Monday again. Yeah, depending if we'll figure it out. Monday or Tuesday, as it's been. So, till we see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Do whatever you can to make today a great day.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey. So where are you going to watch all of the Sounder away games this year?
Away games for the Sounders. Well, since Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, I was thinking of coming here if that's okay with you.
I think that's a great idea. Go Sounders. Hope we see y'all here.